I can start with one for Jason to start. The music, Jason, in this for me was tremendous. The beginning in particular, the way you've got that suspense going, those few bars just constantly going through the first 15, 20 minutes. In the process of making the film, are you thinking that through when you're writing it, or is that something that happens while you're filming?
The music was composed by my composer, Rolf Kent, who's brilliant and has done all my films, or most of my films. And this is a very different film, and this is the first score that I've ever worked on where instead of starting with melody, well, we started with the sounds. And throughout the shoot, he would send me emails, and each sound would have a name for a different level of heat. So one sound would be called simmering, and one sound would be called boiling. And we really created the soundscape of the film with those sounds when the melody came last.
Do you have questions on your audience? A little bit of time, so maybe why don't you pick a person if you want to ask that to.
I'm really curious about yours, John. Oh man, what's the question? What's my favorite part of making this film? You know, my favorite part of making this film was that Josh made a pie every single day. And he's this picture of masculinity, except he would show up at this cottage he was living in, and he'd be wearing an apron, and he'd show up, and he'd be all excited about the new crust he got done. And he would give us pies every single day, to the point where he would come walking with a pie, and people would scatter. Oh no, he's got another pie!
Hey,
Eating Josh's pie.
and take it home now.
Okay, my favorite part of the whole movie was how good Jason's arm got. I play football every single day to set. And beginning of the movie, you were still good. You were still good. It was just by the end of the movie, you had like, I don't know, 35-yard tight style.
Captain taught me to throw a football in the course of the shoot.
The gentleman over there at the far side.
This is a question for Jason. Many of your previous films, including Up in the Air and Thank You for Smoking, were very biting and dark and quite sad. And I was curious why you were attracted and why you felt the need to gravitate here towards something that was softer and more sentimental.
Well, I'm not all biting and dark and sad. This is getting very personal tonight. Perhaps it was a reaction to having just made a few films in a row that had that effect on our audience. I don't know. I really can't tell you. Maybe it'll be 5 or 10 years from now that I'll look back and go, oh, that's probably when I made that movie at that moment. All I know is I read this book, I fell in love with it, and I needed to tell the story. And I was only going to tell it if I could make it with Josh and Kate. And I remember Kate said yes, but she said she couldn't make it for a year, so we waited. And that's why there's young adults. In that interim, we made that movie.
There's a lady up in the front of the balcony there. Yes.
I'm not a lady.
That lady with the voting cards, I think was.
Since the pregnancy, and we see in the screen the pregnancy going so bad, if you ever thought about it, you know, it's such a hard story in real life.
I didn't, sorry, can you repeat the question?
The pregnancy part in the movie being so hard during her pregnancy, if she thought about it at all.
The pregnancy.
Or was it doing a pregnancy scene?
Then,
I have in the past played characters who have been. Can't recognize his mic. I have played pregnant people before. So it isn't something I was completely unfamiliar with, but obviously, emotionally it was very hard, and those scenes were very difficult. And actually, I chose not to see the film tonight because it's just weird to do that right now. But yeah, it was, you know, it was very difficult shooting those scenes. But you know, that's why we do this ridiculous job.
We have time for maybe one more question, and I'm going to go to the lady over there. That is a lady, yes?
Just how difficult it was to create Kate's character, to make it such that you could wrap yourself in her despair to the point where you believe that, you know, she could fall for this man in such a short period of time. You know, how much you worried about whether the romance you were creating was going to connect the way it did.
The question is about developing Kate's character and how quickly she falls in love with Josh's character, and how hard that must have been in such a short period of time to do.
Just how hard it was to create that story, like how hard it was for you to write it, make it believable that, you know, Kate was there and acting would connect in a way that made it believable that she could fall for Josh Brolin in like 3 days.
Well, it's hard to imagine someone falling for Josh Brolin. I mean, you start with that. And I understand.
Thank you so much for the question. Good night.
Really, really hard. You know, it's not difficult to fall for this wonderful soft cuddly bear and man. Because he's really not scary at all. He's really funny and stuff. I have to say, the character of Adele is so fleshed out, as all the characters are in Joyce's beautiful novel, and of course subsequently in the screenplay, that I felt I really had to do it justice, to be honest. And that was the biggest challenge of all, was just, oh my God, I hope I can actually fill these boots. But for me, I think the most important thing was to absolutely play the truth of her and all of the truth of her past, you know, which she lives with daily. But at the same time, one of the things that I was able to really rely on, I think, in terms of playing this part, was that she's a really wonderful mother, and she really loves her child. And the one thing that never wavered at all was her parenting of her son. And that is quite unique, I think, when you stumble across a female character who is so, on the surface, so fragile and fragmented in the way that she is. You know, she isn't munching on Prozac, and she isn't wandering around lost with terrible hair in her bathrobe until 3 and then drinking gin and neglectful. You know, she's absolutely able to put it together and absolutely able to see that the most important thing above all else is her love for her son. And so getting the balance really between those two emotional extremes, because they are extremes, and she did have to hide so much of everything that she had been through. That was the kind of tightrope walk really for me. But I was very blessed because I had this wonderful young man playing my son, who really is awesome.